Imagine a war so brutal it tore a nation apart, a conflict that pitted neighbor against neighbor and redefined the very idea of a country. This was the Algerian War of Independence, a bloody 8-year struggle that forever changed the relationship between France and its most prized colony. So, how did we get here? For over a century, since 1830, Algeria was not just a colony. It was legally part of France itself. Millions of European settlers, known as Pieds Noirs, considered Algeria their home. They controlled the economy and political power, while the native Muslim Algerian population faced discrimination, poverty, and a loss of their cultural identity. After World War II, the winds of change were blowing across the globe. Calls for independence grew louder, but France was determined to hold on to Algeria, seeing it as an inseparable part of the nation. The breaking point came on November 1, 1954. A newly formed group, the National Liberation Front, or FLN, launched a series of coordinated attacks across Algeria. This event, known as Toussaint Rouge or Red All Saints' Day, marked the official start of the war. The FLN's goal was simple and absolute: complete independence from France. Their methods, however, were anything but simple. They waged a guerrilla war, targeting not just the French military, but also civilians, including Pieds Noirs and Muslims who were seen as collaborators. France's response was massive and unforgiving. They sent hundreds of thousands of troops to quell the rebellion. The conflict quickly escalated into a full-blown, brutal war. One of the most infamous episodes was the Battle of Algiers in 1957. The FLN used urban guerrilla tactics, planting bombs in cafes and public spaces frequented by Europeans. In response, French paratroopers were given free rein to crush the insurgency. They used systematic torture, forced disappearances, and summary executions to extract information and break the FLN's network. This dirty war created deep moral and political crises back in mainland France. The war wasn't just fought in the cities and mountains of Algeria. It was a psychological war that divided French society. Many on the left supported Algerian independence, while the right and the military were committed to keeping Algeria French at all costs. The instability was so severe that it led to the collapse of the French Fourth Republic in 1958, a hero from World War II. Charles de Gaulle was brought back to power, tasked with solving the crisis. Initially, many, especially the Pieds Noirs and the army, believed de Gaulle would ensure victory. But he was a pragmatist. He saw that the war was unwinnable, draining France's resources and reputation. He began to speak of self-determination for Algerians, which was seen as a betrayal by those who had fought to keep Algeria French. This led to a violent backlash from a faction of the army, who formed a secret paramilitary group, the OAS, and launched a terrorist campaign in both Algeria and France to sabotage the peace process. Despite the violence, negotiations between the French government and the FLN continued. Finally, in March 1962, the Evian Accords were signed, officially ending the war and granting Algeria its independence. But the story doesn't end there. The aftermath was chaotic and tragic. A wave of retaliatory violence swept through the newly independent nation. Fearing for their lives, nearly 1 million Pieds Noirs fled to France, leaving everything behind. Tens of thousands of Harkis, Muslim Algerians who had fought for the French, were abandoned and massacred. The Algerian War left deep scars on both nations that are still felt today. It was a brutal conflict that cost hundreds of thousands of lives, displaced millions, and exposed the dark side of colonialism. It forced France to confront its imperial past and reshaped Algeria's national identity. The story of this war is a powerful reminder of the human cost of fighting for freedom and the complex, often painful, legacy of decolonization. Thank you for watching. If you found this history insightful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. See you next time.